men use the image of female perfection to motivate themselves. And that's exactly right. That's precisely what they do. You see that in the Tom Sawyer story. So Tom Sawyer is about 12 years old, and he's still hanging around with his friends like Huck Finn. And this girl moves across the street, Becky, and she comes out, and he's struck by her for the first time in his life. Something's changed. And the first thing he does is hop up on a picket fence and show off and balance in front of her. And he's saying, well, look at me, look at me. He's like the male bowerbird building something beautiful so the female will approve of it. And it's motivation. You know, and that's something that I think modern women don't really understand about men. They don't understand that, at least to the degree that males are uncorrupted and not bitter because of being rejected, they're doing everything they can to kneel before the eternal image of the feminine and try to make themselves worthy. That's the chivalry story, right? That's what you should encourage in your partner. So out of chaos emerges this first form. It's the feminine form. It's partly the form that represents novelty as such. So, and on one hand it's promise, on the other hand it's threat. That you wouldn't believe, and I don't know, because I don't understand the situation with women as well as I understand the situation with men, obviously, being a man. But I don't know if women have any idea how paralyzing they are to, especially young men. A very large number of my clinical clients, but also young men I've talked to in general, are absolutely terrified of women because they're terrified of being rejected. And the terror exists in precise proportion to the attraction to the woman, which is a horrible paradoxical situation to be in. It's often why men make such fools of themselves in front of women that they're attracted to. It's because, first of all, they don't see the woman that they're attracted to, because what the hell do they know about her? They don't see her as an individual. They see her as the manifestation of a judgmental ideal. And then it's only in establishing the relationship with the actual woman that they can start differentiating between the judgmental ideal and the actual individual woman. And that also requires a sacrifice. And the sacrifice is, you never can have an ideal woman. So to have a relationship with any woman, you have to sacrifice the relationship with the ideal woman, and you have to see the individual woman and separate her from the ideal. And that's the same thing that happens to the hero in Sleeping Beauty, right? He sees the evil queen who actually turns into the dragon of chaos, and it's not until he can defeat her that he can establish a relationship with the actual princess. And that's exactly the case. I had one of my clients who ran this men's group, which was quite interesting. One of the things they had the initiates do, which was very intelligent, was to go out and ask 50 women in one day for their phone numbers. Why? Politely, properly, you know. It was a game, but it wasn't a stupid game. And the idea was, get over your fear of rejection. And how do you do that? By encountering it continually and continually and continually, so that you're no longer paralyzed by this.
Alright guys, that was Dr. Jody Peterson, one of his older clips when he was still teaching as a professor, talking about what motivates men. There's a few things he hit on that I found intriguing and interesting. One of them was the whole rejection part. I've talked about it a couple of times on this channel, that I do think generally women underestimate the amount of rejection that a lot of young men or men have to go through, especially if they are being brave enough to put themselves out there constantly, right? Not all men do that, but some men do. And I think even when a woman hears this, they kind of laugh it off because they don't understand the psychological and emotional effects it can have on some guys when they internalize it as, you know, being personal or something like that. Instead of just the girl not being interested, it has nothing to do with you. She's not interested. It doesn't necessarily mean you're not worthy of a woman or you're not worthy of a girl. It doesn't necessarily mean that you don't stack up or you don't have good qualities, you're not a good man, or you don't have the right character. For some reason, she's just not into you. And so I think it takes time for, in my opinion, I know I'm a girl, but you can correct me if I'm wrong. In my opinion, sometimes it takes time not to internalize it or take it personally. But I do think a lot of girls underestimate how it affects people and the amount of rejection some guys have to go through if they're putting themselves out there, which I do think, I agree with Dr. Jody Peterson. I think you should put yourself out there, because as much as we have feminism now in modern day, I think women are still very big on the guy making a first move, at least physically and verbally making a first move. A lot of times girls make moves, but we do it in a different way. We do it in a more subtle way. But the other thing he said about the ideal women, that the guy doesn't see you initially, they see the idea or the judgment or perspective of who they think you are, and then getting to know you, they have to sacrifice that ideal woman to be with the woman that they are in, or they might continuously forever chase an idea that doesn't exist, because there is no idea perfect women, right? And I think women have to do the same thing. Women have to do the same thing. This idea of like over 6 foot, which is actually most men are not over 6 foot. Only actually a small fraction, minority of men are over 6 foot. So even wanting a guy over 6 foot is like shrinking your dating pool to such a small amount. So wanting a guy over 6 foot and making 6 figures, and he has to be assertive but emotional. You know, he has to be disagreeable but like also soft like a woman. Like, you know what I mean? Like, we all want all these things. You have to sort of like sacrifice that idea, perfection of a guy that doesn't exist, to be with a high quality, not high value, high quality man, with morals and standards, who's willing to go life with you, go to the extents of life with you, go through the hardships and the ups and downs of life with you. That's hard to find. And so trying to cut that off because you're looking for a perfect thing, I think you're only being detrimental to yourself. But the same thing with men, you know what I mean? We don't live in the 1950s anymore. You're not going to find the perfect, you know, American pie 1950s housewife that does everything perfect. You know, cut your crust off your bread perfect and never nags or whatever. Like, you have to, like, we all have to evolve with the times. But sadly, I don't feel like that's happening now. And the reason why I'm reacting to this, because this has been in the news a lot, and it's been in conversation a lot with the whole gender war and the sex war and the red pill and the feminist modern day women with the manosphere and walkaway, or not MGTOW. Sadly, I feel like men and women are going more and more further away, because I think men and women are just building more and more resentment towards each other, because I think both men and women don't understand each other. And instead of trying to understand each other, is more point fingers and blame. And I think that is never going to help. And if you're part of any community that's doing that, get away from that community, because it's not going to help you. The other thing that he talked about is this sort of fear that I guess young men, I'm assuming it's young men, but I guess maybe all men. I don't know. I'm going with Dr. Peterson. I'm not a guy, so I'm just going off what he said. That men have this fear, or this terror of women, of the fear of rejection, maybe the fear of being humiliated or embarrassed, I don't know. The fear of feeling like you don't stack up, you're not good enough, which that being rejected by a woman doesn't necessarily mean that, but internalizing it that way or taking it personally. It must be really hard. Sometimes I do think it's better if guys just don't care about women, because I think women do feel that way about guys, but not in the same way. I think most young women just assume it's going to happen for them anyway, so they don't have that fear necessarily of being alone or not finding a guy until they get older. So it must be I can see how it can be debilitating, that fear of not finding someone. But sometimes I think it's better just to like let it go and just do you and focus on your personal individual self. But I guess it's different from guys, especially when you're young, because you're driven by sex and spreading your seed and all that stuff, that biological urge to pump out semen. But I think young women sometimes are more focused on protecting themselves, other than, it's like the opposite. But sometimes I really do think it's better just to like not even think about it and just focus on you. And if it happens, it happens. Unfortunately, it doesn't happen for everybody. But I think it's better to not constantly be concerned and terrified of the idea of not finding someone, and just focus on yourself, make the best life you can with the life that you have. And hopefully God blesses you enough to give you a partner to share your life with. But you have to, again, throw away some of your ideas of what you want in a partner. Hopefully find someone who's high quality, not high value. Hate that. High quality. But anyway, guys, tell me what you think in the comment section below. Please like, comment, and subscribe. Hit that bell to get the notifications when I do upload. All of that really does help with the algorithm, guys. And if you'd like to support the channel further, you can donate. My PayPal link is in the description box below and also in the comment section. Of course, it helps, but you don't have to. You can just like, comment, and subscribe. Another great way to support this channel is either join my brand new membership program. Different levels, different tiers, different perks, or you can visit my brand new merch shop. Links down below, and links to all of the alternative platforms I'm on, my socials, including my Rumble, my Minds.com, my Odyssey, see my Discord, my Twitter, all the other YouTube channels I have, all the links down below. And if you like, you can super thanks. I also have a second travel vlog channel. I travel as a lifestyle, or I live abroad. If you'd like to know where I am in the world, you can go to the description box below and also in the comment section. Hit the link, go subscribe to my travel vlog channel, and or follow me on my travel Instagram. My stories is usually what's most up to date. And you guys have an amazing day.